I'll set the shape, the rate back to 500, so it's a little easier to work with. In fact, I'll maybe take it down a little bit more. Let's go to a rate of 100. Okay, so we've got our particles working now, and we only have one particle being emitted upon collision. So this is where we need to start branching off to create additional states of behavior. And in this next state, I want to create an effect that occurs when the particles bounce off the surface. You'll notice that the bounce off surface compound has an execute port. We can execute certain compounds or nodes on collision with the ground. I want to spawn particles when particles collide with the ground, and to do that I can look under the particle tasks menu and look at the spawning category of compounds. The spawn on collision compound will do exactly what I'm looking for. If I plug its output into the execute on collide of the bounce off surface with friction, I'll probably slow my machine down quite a bit. Let me double click on the actual compound and minimize. So right away you can see something very different happening. At the point where the particles collide, I'm getting this massive growth of secondary particles, which looks kind of cool, but it's really slow. So the next thing to do is to, of course, tweak this effect. What I'm looking to do here is to define this second stage of the particle's life, the part where they actually splash and separate, as a separate entity altogether on this same point cloud. And we do this using what are called state IDs. Every state ID can have a series of compounds or effects built for it alone and no other states. At the moment, the state ID for the spawning state is set to state 0. I want to set it as a different state than what the raindrop particle state might currently be. And we can check out the particle's initial state once they've been emitted from their grid by double-clicking on the emit from surface compound to note what state ID the particles are birthed in. They're birthed in state 0, so these particles that I've got spawning off of the collision, I will set to state 1. I also have a lot of these particles being emitted, so they're actually deriving their rate based on the amount of force with which they collide on the ground, and then they're multiplying that by a factor of 10. So I'm actually just going to take that spawn rate down somewhat. So I'm emitting far fewer particles when they collide. There we go. So that already looks a little better. Maybe I can even take it down to 0.2. We're just trying to get this effect working here. And you'll notice that these particles are inheriting all of the attributes of the raindrops in terms of their life, in terms of the fact that they are also strands. The only thing they're not inheriting is the initial particle color. So we need to do some work to give these splash particles their own unique identity and behavior.